Hello and welcome back to the NBA DFS Slate Breakdown for Monday, March 4th. We are back. Had a really good weekend. Hope all of you did. I don't know if you're following around, but on Friday I did ship 40K on FanDuel. I had a little takedown there. So it was a nice hit to start the weekend. I hope you guys had good luck as well and were able to win some money. Now, before we get into it, check out those promo codes: ParlayPlay, Sleeper, Underdog, Chalkboard, all of which give you 1 free month of Line Star if you're a new customer. Fill it out. Go through the link. Do what you need to do. Do the minimums. Deposit at least your $10. Play through some of it. And use this form to let us know when you've done it. And we can contact them to get the correct data to make sure you have fulfilled it on your side. Now, let's get into the slate. A little bit of a tricky one because on FanDuel there's 4 games. On Draftkings there are 6. Going to try and cover all 6, but we will be focusing on the 4 on FanDuel. So to cover the last 2, I'm going to go over, the higher owned guys on DraftKings and then the matchup tool on DraftKings as well. So let's get into it here. To start off, highest owned Colin Sexton, 7,400. Keaton George is questionable. They're also without Walker Kessler and Lauri Markkanen. Somebody's got to score the ball, and it's either going to be Sexton or Clarkson most likely. If Sexton gets some extra run, he is a guy that produces at a very high level when he really gets it going. 1.22 fantasy per minute over his last 20 starts. So he's been extremely good for fantasy, and he has a huge ceiling. Get why people are going there. I'm just not getting to quite as much as the field. I think 44% is kind of high. I think 40% for Clarkson is high too. But I am getting a little more Clarkson. He was out last game. That was only an illness, but he's been playing a lot of minutes, even though he's coming off the bench. 32 minutes per game over the last 5. If Keaton George is out, he's only going to get more. So definitely a little bit intrigued by going with Clarkson. And the fact that he's running the second unit, it's, pretty much getting all of the usage with that second unit. So very intrigued to go there. Also, Damian Lillard with no Middleton. He's just been very good. So he's 1.15 fantasy per minute over his last 20. Without Middleton, it goes up to like 1.26. So we're getting a little bump up there without Middleton. We've been playing him a lot lately, and he's been producing. He is in a tough matchup versus the Clippers. They are very good versus the point guard, but there is no Russell Westbrook, and James Harden isn't an elite defender. So I think there is some room for Damian Lillard to do all right here. Then down to a pivot, Anthony Simons. Look, I like Simons. He has a giant ceiling when his shot is falling, and he played 45 minutes versus Memphis last game in a game that they stayed close. If this game is able to stay close, he's going to play a ton of minutes and shoot the ball a ton. Shot the ball 23 times. I would expect right around that again. He is going to have to score for them to keep into this game whatsoever. And he's an interesting pivot in my eyes. Now, they are 14-point underdogs, so they got to keep into this game. But if they are, it's an interesting game to stack if that is the case. Now, over to DK. Highest owned point guards, we got Kobe White, Keaton George, and Tyus Jones. I think the Bulls are in a fairly interesting spot here. Kobe White has been crushing this season. We know he has that huge ceiling. He has a low floor, though. But the big thing here is how many minutes the guy has been playing. Averaging 40 minutes a game over his last 5. 39 over his last 20. So the minutes are going to be there. It's versus a Kings team that could be without De'Aaron Fox, and they are nowhere near as good without De'Aaron Fox. So I am definitely a little bit intrigued here and don't mind going there a little bit. Keaton George, he is questionable. you can absolutely go there if you want. He's had a solid ceiling. Played 43 minutes the other night, which was crazy. They're not really letting their guards, get that kind of minutes, but he has done it 40 plus a couple times in the last couple weeks. So he is at least interesting. Wizards are terrible versus point guard. Don't mind going there. Tyus Jones have been playing unbelievable lately, and I think the assists will be there once again tonight. It just matters if the rest of his game is there. Very well could be. I don't mind it. He's better with Poole coming off the bench than he was with Poole in the lineup. Into the matchup tool. Tyus Jones with our best matchup. SGA right there. You can always go SGA. And Keaton George just underneath that. I think that Washington versus Utah game is going to have a lot of ownership. But, it's a pretty interesting game, so I get why people are going there. This Lakers versus Utah, or OKC, Oklahoma game, probably going a little under the radar here. There's some nice pieces in that with pretty high scoring, close game. Now, shooting guard. We got Colin Sexton, Clarkson, Keaton George. We've gone over them. We went over Anthony Simons. Let's get over to Anthony Edwards. 9.4K versus the Trailblazers. They literally can't stop anybody. He's had huge games versus them this year, putting up 56 and 60. The thing here is they got to keep the game a little close. Now, this is a spot where if you like Anthony Edwards, I would definitely play a Trailblazer or two. I think there's a lot of guys that you could play that are cheap. And I think a game stack of this game makes sense. If Portland keeps it close into the fourth, there's probably some winners coming from this game. Next, Norman Powell. So we got Russell Westbrook out. So that's the whole reason why he might pick up a couple extra minutes without Westbrook. Already playing a decent amount of minutes. He's played 28 per game over the last 5. And don't mind going back to him. Played 27 the other night. I have him right around 27, 28. We have him at 27. I think it's an interesting spot versus a Bucks team that's, decent defensively, but not great. The other thing here is Giannis is questionable with an Achilles injury. So there is a chance Giannis is sitting out. If that's the case, then all the Clippers are going to look a little bit better. Into shooting guard, onto DK, Sexton, Clarkson, THT, same thing. Talked about them all. Getting over to matchup tool. Bilal Coulibaly, Josh Giddey, Colin Sexton. Bilal, I really like Bilal as a player. He's cheap, only 4,500. Started a couple games. He's been out for 3. He is cleared to come back. When he was starting, 28, 30 minutes a game was right around where he is. If he comes back to that 4,500, you got to be kind of interesting when he has the ceiling that he does. He could go 10x in this spot. So going lower owned and could 10x is fairly interesting. Josh Giddey, I just wish his minutes were there. Only been playing 22, 23 minutes a game, and at 5,300, it's just hard to go there. There's not a ceiling. However, if he lucks into some extra minutes because he's playing well, that ceiling is there, but a lot of things got to go your right for that to happen your way. All right, small forward, we got Denny Avadia, Kyle Kuzma, and Bryce Sensabaugh. With Bilal Coulibaly right there as far as the higher owned guys. I love Denny and I love Kuzma tonight. Either of them I am intrigued with. Look, bottom line is Utah are missing some big pieces. They're missing big men too. So they're going to have to play probably at a little higher pace. It's huge 241 total. There's less shot blocking without Walker Kessler. There's less rebounding, less scoring without Lauri Markkanen. I think it's an interesting spot to attack with either one of these guys, as well as Bilal. Washington and Utah just have a lot of interesting pieces. Bryce Sensabaugh, he's 3,500, currently expected to start. I don't expect a ton of minutes from him. Thus, if his ownership is high, I'm probably going to be out on him. Just he hasn't been producing very well, even coming off the bench. So going with the starters, why would he start producing all of a sudden? And pivots, we covered them all. Getting into small forward on DK, Sensabaugh, Clarkson, and THT. THT is an interesting one. There is a chance that he could start at small forward over Sensabaugh, or, is the guy that comes in to relieve Sensabaugh, and Sensabaugh only plays his 22, 23 minutes, and THT gets some more. THT is a guy that produces very well when he gets his minutes. It's just a roll of the dice if he gets his minutes. At 3,600, love taking some shots. Don't love the ownership on him, but it's an intriguing one. Matchup tool-wise, we got Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, and Sensabaugh. Look, Caruso has been playing huge minutes. He came back and only played 26 in a blowout, but over, the last few games or whatever, he's right around 32, 33 minutes. The guy produces at a very high clip, and his defense probably needed versus the Kings. So I'm absolutely intrigued. I think 5,300 isn't enough to scare me off. He is a guy that has that high 30s, 40-point ceiling at 5.3. I'm absolutely willing to go there. And power forward on FanDuel, Denny, John Collins, Kyle Kuzma. We covered Denny and Kuzma. Let's get into Collins. Look, there's no Walker Kessler, no Lauri Markkanen. He's going to be locked into minutes. We have him at 32. He could easily play more than that. Could play that 33, 36. And he has a legit ceiling when he's playing center, which he will be playing tonight. Definitely intrigued going that way. 1.16 fantasy per minute as a starter over the last 20. That simply it's been because he's starting a lot. Or starting at center a lot. Just that ceiling is so much higher on him at center. 40 is where he's been kind of living lately, and he has that, higher 40s ceiling. So definitely intrigued with Collins versus a poor Washington defense. Should be a lot of scoring in this game. Taylor Hendricks is a pivot that I'm very intrigued on. His price has gone up, but I think his minutes are going to go up a little bit. He played 29 minutes last game. Lauri Markkanen played. Markkanen is now going to be out. I think there's a chance that he's up to 32. We have him at 30, but he's been playing really well. Lately, 0.9 fantasy per minute guy, and should get some pluses without Markkanen on that as well. Without Markkanen and Kessler, he's at like 1.04 or something like that. Got to go back to the guy that won me the tournament on Friday, Jabari Walker. He had this game where he went for 41 for me at 4K. His price is significantly up after a 36 performance over the weekend on Saturday. But look, that's two very good performances. He's coming off the bench. 22, the game that he did well for me. That was in major foul trouble. He only played 5 minutes in the first half because of foul trouble. He got 3 quick fouls and came out in the second half and, played 14 minutes in the second half. So if he's on pace for 28, 30 minutes, it looks really good. The Trailblazers have even more injuries now with Jeremy Grant questionable or doubtful. So I think it's an interesting spot for Walker. If he comes off the bench again or starts, I'm absolutely intrigued. He's been producing at a very, very high clip. Don't mind going there. The matchup is tougher versus Minnesota, but with no ownership, I'm intrigued to go back. Power forward on DK, Sensabaugh, John Collins, Kyle Kuzma. We went over them all. Keegan Murray is popping a little. I do have to say, if Fox is out, he gets a decent bump here, usage-wise and fantasy point per minute-wise. So definitely intrigued in that case if he's out. Matchup tool, Kyle Kuzma, Taylor Hendricks, and Dorian Finney-Smith take the top. DFS is at least interesting on DraftKings. I don't like him on FanDuel. I think the price is a little too high on FanDuel. But on DK, 4,400 for a guy that's going to get you 30 or around 30 minutes is fairly interesting. And we see Keegan popping up a little bit here too. Reminder that he is good. A little bump up without Fox. Onto the center spot. Look, highest owned, John Collins. No surprise. He looks great. They're missing, the starting small forward. Missing the backup center. He could get a couple extra minutes. So absolutely intrigued here. Next, we got Nick Claxton. Nick Claxton is interesting. They did have a little bit of a coach shuffle here, and coach is saying that they want to get Claxton scoring the ball a little bit more. So that's at least interesting. He played 34 minutes the other night. If that happens again versus poor Memphis team, pretty interesting going his way, and he will show up here on the matchup tool. Marvin Bagley's another guy I am absolutely interested in. I mean, he's just been very good at the center position for Washington while starting. 1.1 fantasy points per minute as a starter over his last 5 with Washington. Definitely intrigued to go with him. The one thing is, if this game is a blowout, his minutes do go down significantly. He is one of the guys they pull in a blowout. But if it's close, he's getting 33, 34 minutes. And if he gets 33, 34 minutes, he can absolutely give you 40s or high 40s. So intrigued to go there a bit. Rudy Gobert, a pivot that I am intrigued on. Trailblazers are just bad versus center. 29th. So second worst in the league versus center. He's been balling lately. I do not mind going back to him. Give me a mid 40s from him and I'll move on. Next, Zubac. Look, I don't know what to say about his minutes right now. He played 19 the other day after 2 games out. Last time he missed games, they were slow to give him minutes again. So I don't know if he's still on a minutes limit. If he is, take him out of your pool immediately. However, if he gets up to this 28, 29, 27 like he had before the last couple days where he's been out for illness, then he becomes interesting again. And that's kind of what I have him. I have him at 26, getting a decent amount of him over, what the field is, and a little bit intrigued. I just know he is a guy that has, a very high ceiling if he gets it going. So willing to take a little bit of a shot on him. Don't go overboard because it's a risky play. All right, and that will do it for FanDuel. On to DK. We got John Collins. We got Kyle Kuzma and Drummond. This is not a spot that Drummond is likely to start. Sacramento doesn't have 2 big guys. He starts when there's 2 big guys. So, you're looking at 20 minutes or so coming off the bench, and I don't love it. You could do worse, I guess, but probably not going to go there. I would rather just pay up and get Sabonis, who also helped me win money last weekend or on Friday. So don't mind going there. Don't mind Vucevic as well. And matchup tool-wise in the center spot, John Collins, very top. Marvin Bagley right underneath that, and Claxton. All 3 look great. AD is right there. We do know AD is in a great spot for OKC. They've given up some huge games to some centers. So absolutely intrigued to go with AD in a game that I think is very interesting and not getting the ownership it probably should. So that'll do it for us today, guys. I hope you guys have a great night. Good luck. And hopefully me or one of us gets a takedown. Have a good one, guys. Bye.